G'day legends, welcome back to another episode of the Butcher's Bible Podcast. I'm your host Ant. I'm running a solo one today, so let's get stuck into it. Cheers.
G'day guys, just Ant here today with a solo episode. Didn't want to reach out to anyone this week, just with everything that's been going on. Nothing serious. It just gives me a bit of downtime, just to get editing done. Google some more bits and pieces to make content a bit more interesting. But yeah, it's just a bit of downtime. Never hurt anyone, and everyone does appreciate that. Big shout out to everyone who's been listening since the comeback. You guys rock. Thank you so much. The amount of love, like likes, comments, everything else in between, and even the messages as well, the DMs, very supportive, and I thank you so much. So just keep following along. We've got some big things coming up very shortly. Got a multi-part series. Little hint: it's the oldest butcher shop in the UK, and it's been around since 1515. So that's going to be a multi-part series. Got some other guests as well, everyone that we love and adore. I would like to reach out to some old ones, because of their future endeavors. But it is, today is just going to be a solo episode. And I do have a massive list of things that I do want to cover. Big shout outs to everyone as well. Especially since the very beginning, we had Gareth from Victory Knives for the first episode of the comeback. Fucking unreal. Great support in that. Gareth is doing a great job. If you haven't listened to it and you've just picked this one, just go back and listen to it. It's really fun, really interesting. He's a good bloke. Very supportive for our brothers down in New Zealand. Aaron Waters, phenomenal. Thank you so much for your time. And same with like Eleanor and Harry Dyer and a good friend of ours, Brad Burke, who's right now currently in moose season. So if you haven't listened to that episode, and we was talking about hunting and bringing in moose and the bowling ball bit that we're talking about, he's in the trenches right now. So I might clip up some photos. I'm going to ask him for some more moose photos and everything that he's got. But so far it looks pretty fucking intense. But shout out to him. He's become a really good friend, very supportive, and I can guarantee he supports every one of us who are actually in this trade, if not everyone else that he talks to. He does have really great insight, and the same with everyone else as well who's been part of it. Basically, with today's episode, just going to cover a few bits and pieces on like the WBC, few fun facts as well, Christmas, and maybe just debrief a little bit with you guys in today's episode, and just see how it goes. Really, I don't know how long this episode will go for, because I wasn't going to release an episode, but then my wife was like, do record something and get it out there, just because, and just a little bit of downtime. Like I said, it's nice to reflect on some of the things and get some admin done and everything else that's happening in between. It's just, yeah, we got Christmas coming up, and Christmas we just all dread, don't we? And I can hear your nods and yups through the through the camera. But it is a very intense time for us as butchers. And I don't think a lot of people do realize, even though they've been coming to the same butcher shops and everything as well. And I think we all just need to, when we're in the trenches together, just kind of it's not forever. It's only one big dinner party of the year. And same with Thanksgiving as well. As Thanksgiving over in the States, Canada and America and all that. It does seem pretty relentless, but it is just a season. It's pretty intense, and especially because my wife pointed out earlier, a while back, she goes, you can choose your friends and family and everything, but when the people you choose to work with, you have an obligation to make friends, even though you might not get along with them and all this and that. And she really did highlight that for me, because a lot of jobs do make up as us as staff, and I do appreciate everyone, but then you just always get the same idiot or like the dickhead, and it just becomes a bit unbearable in some states. So it's like, I've worked in many butcher shops now, and I'm like, you can pinpoint and who that person is, or they got the same traits as like this person in previous shops and all this and that. But it is just like a bit of a running theme sometimes. But when you do get across a very special shop, this shop that I'm at now is quite special because it's a big mix of people and it's like the age gaps are quite like big. You know, you got some in the 60s and 70s, you got 21s, and you got me in the middle, kind of on both ends, where you can still have serious conversations, but you can also have the fun. So it is a good mix week in, week out. And doing some of the products as well that we do over at Griff's, um, it's all just it's all coming together. But with Christmas, you know, on the horizon, and Thanksgiving, it is relentless. You know, it's just nonstop, and then you always get the same people as well. I always found in every shop is just like they always ask how to cook a turkey, and I'm like, it's the same as last year, but then everyone seems to forget it very quickly. But now they've foolproofed it, and with cooking turkeys and everything, it comes with a pamphlet. I know here in the UK, it does come with like a pamphlet, pretty much just a manual. But inside the manual, one page will be dedicated to cooking, and then you'll have like the little turkey popper and whatever else. But then the rest is like how they're bred and everything throughout the year, and you know the whole jargon and whatnot. And then you get the recipes at the end. Some are really cool recipes, some are very just generic and normal, I guess, in a sense. But it's to utilize as much as the carcass as possible, because that turkey's taken a long time to, you know, rear up. And you know it is good. It is good fun to listen to and you know, and read about and whatnot, and you can relay that information to your dinner guests and whatnot. And even shout out to like, the butcher shops that you even got it from as well. And when people are astonished by like this cooking method, but like half the time it really just does come down to the cooking. You know, there has been like I'm pretty sure we've all had products where we're like, oh, how's this gonna work? Ooh, you know, and we've all kind of just stood there and just gone, that's gonna be chewy or this and that. But you know, the product is what it is. You know, when you're cutting off whole bodies like you do, and you're like, fuck, that's, you know, it's a bit shy of the aging that you want to aim for. But then sometimes it comes out tender, sometimes it doesn't. But then it always comes down to like the cooking and everything, and we know that. Um, but it always relays back to the butcher, and then the butcher kind of just, you know, you're not exactly going to tell your supplier or your farmer or whatever, are you? You're just going to be like, yeah, I'll take another couple of bodies of beef and lamb and whatever else, you know. But it is just one of those things. But I do see a trend every year where, you know, a lot of people do tend to forget how to cook turkey, and the manual is like a big help. But then the prices as well. A lot of people, you know, a little more conscious in the fact, like I spoke to Ellie last week, if you haven't listened to that episode, where she was saying about prices and like people deterring away from supermarkets and that. And she did raise a really good point, but like none of us really go out of our way to do price gouging or matching or whatever, because we know what our products are and we know where they come from, and you know we believe in that product and we wouldn't put it out otherwise. Like a majority of the shops we know anyway. But it is, you know, it is the pricing that people are more aware of, but they also their wallets are tight, but then they also want to cross over and everything as well. And when crossing over to a butcher shop, it is back to raw basics in the sense of like customer service, displays. You know, there's a lot of like mix of stuff. You know, you've always got like your pork and then your lamb or whatever your case setup may be, you know, and it is good fun to do a case, as you've seen on my Instagram, and doing things like that. But it is stripping back that plastic and doing a lot of other things that take you back to nature, or not nature in a sense, but you know, the natural form of how it should be, all displayed out, and reduce plastics, carbon footprint, you name it. You know what it's all about. But it is about pricing, I guess, in the sense. But like Christmas and Thanksgiving is, you know, it is the biggest dinner parties of the year, and you get all your friends and family. The weather seems to change. I know in Australia, New Zealand, and all that, and Thailand, you know, it's coming into summer where, you know, here in September in the UK, it's starting to get a bit colder. Same within the States and, you know, Iceland and all that. You know, the seasons seem to be changing quite a bit, but we're not really in full winter until about October, and that's when it's like, ooh. And then you got Halloween on top of that. Halloween's good fun, especially in the UK. I know in Australia it's the beginning of summer, which is fucking stinking hot. It just is, and you know, here in the UK it drops, you know, and it's really starting to get real bitter. The mornings are like a little bit icier, a little bit like really snappy, cold snaps all the time, and you're just like, well, time to layer up, lay it down, baby. But yeah, I do appreciate those seasons as much. But they are good fun. I do appreciate having seasons instead of being where I was in the far north Queensland. It was either hot or fucking hot. There was no medium. There was just like one extreme or the other. And, it is what it is. But think like wanted to talk to you guys. Just thought I'd bring up a few conversation points. The first off, the clicker versus steel. 34, 35 views in the poll. Steel won. But then a lot of people like Westy, TC Turner, Aaron Waters as well. They did say, steel is like natural. They can find like the edge and all those other bits and pieces. And Westy brought up a really good point as well, especially when using the two, because he utilizes on both. And I thought I'd be a really good opportunity to see what everyone else thought. And the poll, was clear steel. And your mama always rocks. She always rocks, your mama. It's just, I've always added that one in. It's good fun. But yeah, Westy touched on, using like his clicker for like the more intricate, like more detailed bits and pieces, where steel he would use on his like Vitrinoxes that he has. With the steel to break beef and lamb and all that, I think because you get more of an edge, and it's not like just a generic, because no knife is like, obviously when you're stoning and everything, we've always got different angles. Like I know on my knives, one angle is like a little bit more than the other. It doesn't really matter with the clicker. It's just more generic. It's guaranteed every time. But with your knife, you can't guarantee that both sides are going to be, that way. Where I think the steel incorporates the same as when you're stoning, because your hand wrist action, it kind of applies to the steel, which gives you that finer edge. But then, if you've been doing this long enough like the rest of us, you'll know where your edge is. It is what it is. There's no being your cunt or anything about it. Yeah. But yeah, he did bring up those really good points. And I did ask him and then a few other people as well in those comments and everything that happened. But I think Westy's idea of utilizing both, it works. It's good. It works for him. It might not work for you. I always seen like a lot of people blowing up about like our clickers are this and that. But it seems to be just on like the Butchers and Slaughtermen's page as well. Like I'm not really much on Facebook. But when I do, it's just like, oh yeah, it is like those things. But a young fella up north here in the UK, he was bastardized, I would say, unfortunately, from our tribe. And but it's just that old school mentality. Like if you look at any one of us in the community now, especially on Instagram, and you go to anyone on there won't be one comment of hate. It's love hearts. It's you're doing amazing, fire emojis. It's everything like that, and that's a community we like to keep building, and we've got a long way to go, especially like bringing in younger people in the industry. And I think showing that the community isn't just all blood and guts and, killings and all this and that, but it does have a beautiful poetic side to it. And I think the poetic side is like taking this big beast, turning it into a little thing, and then turning that into another value-added product. And those are the finer bits that poetry kind of flows into, especially with butchery. And I really like doing those things. And like a vast number of all of us actually do love doing those finer bits. A lot of shops don't get an opportunity. And it kind of deters the younger generation, like, oh, is this it? And blah, blah, blah. Like maybe the only VAP they would do would be the generic, like chicken breasts stuffed or something. But like, if that works for that shop, that works for that shop. I'm not being a cunt about it or anything, but showcasing stuff like, Westy does, Brett Law, you name it, Ben Tyndale, like the whole fucking shebang. Everyone who was at WBC worldwide, that was the poetic side of that and how this industry works. And that is another level to go for, and I do like that side. But then on the other side, I put a post up the other day of me breaking beef, and that's just beautiful in itself. I love breaking beef, as you know. It is so much fun, and it's just incredible, you know. And there's anyone who likes breaking beef, like big shout out to Luke Rekovic, my old co-host, Fake Duck Butchery. He breaks beef in such a beautiful way, and he makes it look so easy, and he's just so detailed on how he does that. So a big shout out to him, you know, and everyone else who does do break beef and like in that industry, you know, you guys are doing really well. But back to like the WBC, you know, bringing younger people into this field, showcasing this side, and it has been around for quite some time, the WBC, but it hasn't had the like spotlight as it should, and that's the glamour poetic side and how you can achieve to strive and be better and do all those things. Pardon me, bit of dust, but that's that side of it all, and it is good fun, but you can't get to there until you start from the bottom, and that's how it always works in any industry. Anywhere you start, anything you do, any career change, any path that you take, it always starts at the bottom, and you know that. And then that's where you build your reputation. That's where you build a lot of like knowledge, and then with knowledge, the years will flow on, and you become more fluent in the field that you're in, and especially butchery. It seems to have evolved. Oh, it's rapidly evolved over the 6, 7, 8 years, maybe, where these new products are just coming through. And it's not just for the WBC, it's for like the shops, the retail shops. You know, Vesagan have got people who go around, Dizelle, they showcase all these things. And then you've got like all the marinade companies that come with it. You know, you got the season companies like, you know, Ellie from Leonard's Ingredients, big shout out. You know, you've got all these companies who are just helping, adding value, and color scheming and everything that comes with it. It's just remarkable. And I just wanted to say those people who are starting in the industry, and you've clicked on this video, that's the nitty gritty of it. Starting at the bottom, working your way to the top, do an apprenticeship, and if you don't like it, at least you got something under your belt. And then, but it's like just not finishing apprenticeship is like, oh, this is the end. This is like, you've got the beginning now. You've got something underneath your belt, and you're doing extremely well to get that far, especially with people's attention spans these days are just so low. And it's like, oh, what do you like? I think, I don't know. I think I kind of blame it on like the internet a little bit, AI especially. It's just a bit, I don't know. It's making people a bit more lazier, and you know, in the younger generation, we don't want that from. Because if you want to thrive in any field that you do, you got to start at the bottom, and you know, knowledge comes with it. But like they are great tools. Don't get me wrong. There is some great tools. You know, AI has been good, but don't let it be your thinking power, I'd say. But that's really that. But like when you do finish your apprenticeships and all these other bits and pieces, like it's not the end. It's really just the beginning. Because there's many fields that you can strive in. You know, you can be better, like you can move on and go to other places that, you know, do whole carcass, and you can hone on those skills, or you can go into catering as well, and, you know, cut meat and portioning is huge. Portioning is a big part of like the community. It's like when people come in, they're like, give me a 10-ounce rump steak, and you're like, phew. And if you're eyeballing that without the, you know, without skill sets, because you've never had to or whatever, maybe take it up, maybe go to a catering industry and do that for 6 months, have a little trick of that, you know, go to another place that does, you know, whole beefs, and learn to break down beef and venison and, you know, lamb and pork and all that. Like it all translates. It's just in a smaller, like in a smaller body. All the parts are there nearly. It's just in a smaller body, but you can do cleaner work. You can really, really hone in on doing that, and it really fixates you. And that's that poetic side. Like I said, it just really just gets you immersed in like, this is what the industry is about. I can do better next time, you know, on this bit. I could do that cleaner. I could do this and that, you know, and then you start to appreciate it a bit more, you know, or even like on the small goods side, the small goods, like, pastries, baked goods, you name it, like even making like smoked kielbasa's and all of this and that. There is a big, wide range of those things inside the industry, and it is a major player. They are major players in all of it, the whole lot. And you might think, oh, the food industry is just butchery and that, but like you've also got inside of this massive like world, you've got subsections of everything that comes with it. And I think that they're really important to address, especially if you're doing an apprenticeship. It might not be for you doing customer facing, but I'll break down all the animals, I'll do the VAP, or if not, just hone in on, doing baked goods and all the small goods and everything that comes with it, because those are fun. Those are really good fun. You can be as creative as possible if you've got that there. It is just good fun. And I wish I was like a little more immersed, a little more fluent, I should say, in baked goods. I would say, like my pastry game, I would say it's a 5 out of 10, but I haven't had the time to, do it like as much as I would like to. But I know if I see a product that I like and I want to replicate it and put my twist on it, I do have the idea in how that works. But that just comes with experience, because you can kind of see how products are put together and made, but it comes with experience, And then same with making sausages and everything. Sausages you can fuck up real easy. Too much seasoning, too much salt, it's fucked. Cunt's fucked. Not here for it. And that's what, in good butcher shops always have, their sausages and that, or their like signature blends. And then, if you got the Jesus. And if you've got the creative freedom, you could make your own sausage, and then that could be your signature blend, and you just get it better and better and better, and you hone in, and you go, right, I've gone from this to that. The world is endless in the food industry. That's why we see all these like famous chefs and all these younger chefs and all these people online who are making these products, because they have honed in on these skills and taken and elevated. And that's the same with the butchery. And we can all agree on that. And anyone who's unsure or don't know, go to a butcher shop and start talking to people. Have a look at the products. Have a look around. Don't just go to your same supermarket and generic bullshit. Just go in and have a chat. Most of us are here. Don't do it over the Christmas season. That's silly. You won't. You'll catch us off on a bad foot, I guess. Maybe not. You can do what you want, but just let's avoid Thanksgiving and Christmas period to go in and talk to a butcher about products and converting over, really. Maybe January, February. It's a little bit quieter. That's all I can say on that. But yeah, I think now with the WBC, and if you haven't looked or seen or are aware, the WBC 2028, it's going to be hosted in Australia. Let's go. It's going to be good. I've seen recently, like straight away off the bat, as soon as it was announced, I don't know, 12 hours later, Team Ireland, not joking around. They just went straight in. They're recruiting. If you got the skills, do it. And if you're in Ireland, definitely go for it, because Team Ireland at the WBC this year over in Paris, far out, unreal. Big shout out to them. They did an amazing job, but they didn't score as high as they wanted. But they had like a lot of products. But that's what the Irish do. They showcase and they take every bit and they break it down into other smaller portions and other bits and pieces. And the showcase is just phenomenal. And big shout out to them for not wasting any time. They're going to be coming in hungry in 2028. And same with Team Iceland, second team I saw. Boom, those boys not messing around. And do you know what? And I love those boys very much. And I should have wore the uniform now, but I didn't. Team Iceland though, like unreal. Big shout out to them boys. And especially for them to score 11th as well for this year, and to be on par as well with like New Zealand, and the States and whatnot. But like, even they're a couple of points as well behind Ireland and Team GB and Italy. They didn't fall too far. There's so much room for them to do better, and to bring these new products. And the Viking thing, phenomenal, really good. It was really good. But I think in the next couple of years they're going to elevate. They're going to really, really go hard, and I'd love to see. I'd love to see how everyone else and how they're going to compete in the next couple of years, which I really can't wait. But it is good fun. If you haven't been to a WBC or you haven't seen like any of the reels and everything, go to the World Butchers Challenge, like Instagram, Facebook. I think they got as well. Have a look at that stuff. It's good fun, really good. Originally started obviously in Australia, New Zealand was part of it, and then Team GB, and so forth and so on. I really hope as well that Team Wales come back. I really hope. It'd be really good to see Peter and all them boys, really have another crack at it. I know there was some funding issues and whatever else, and it just takes up a lot of time when everyone's really busy. But to do something you're really passionate about and to showcase your country in another country against other countries, phenomenal. And I really hope that they do come back, or and we have a few other teams like South Africa, I think, was a part of it, but I don't think they got the funding or anything together. But hopefully they make it in 2028, and it should be really good. I'm not sure when Team GB will do their opening snap, but I know everyone will be going for it. Me personally, I won't. I'll just I'll plod along doing the podcasts. And if Simon Taylor's back in it, big shout out to him. I might get in contact with him again and say, should we do some interviews and some bits and pieces behind the scenes on the stuff, and we'll see. There's a lot going on now, and I thought that's why I was just like, I was bringing out a solo episode, see what we can do, and just see how long it goes for. I'm not too bothered. It is good fun just doing with the guest episodes. They are good fun, and I always have a blast doing them. But like today, just a few things to bring out in a day of just relaxing, nice easy edit, future endeavors coming, which are going to be good fun. There's lots happening behind the scenes. If anyone's not aware as well with the butchery results of like the WBC, I'll just quickly run through them now, because if they're like, oh no, I missed it or whatever, and whatever's going on. So first place was France, second was Germany, Australia third. Good on you boys. They're gonna be Australia. They're gonna be coming in fucking hot because it's home ground, which I'm really fucking excited for. Brett Law. We got Peter Burt, Tommy Bircher. You've got everyone, Craig. You name it. They're gonna be coming in fucking hot. And I know that Lawsy said there was a lot of products that they didn't do, or didn't have time to do. So it'd be nice to see in the next couple of years what happens on that. But yeah, very good. Big surprise as well. Belgium came fourth. Fucking good on them. They deserve it. They had a big crowd. They had a really good crowd, and they were chanting. Lots of flags. It was really good. It would be nice to be on the other side. When Gareth and Dave Corbett and I were walking around trying to get into the other side, because you had New Zealand and Australia and everyone on one side, and then you had Iceland and Belgium and Germany and everything on the other, but we just couldn't seem to get in. It was really weird. I think we did cover it on the Butchers Lounge Live chat a while back. I think it was like 2 weeks after the WBC. But yeah, they did really well. Fifth place, Canada. Italy was 6th. Team GB 7th. Ireland 8th. Romania and Ireland did come 8th together. They scored the exact same. So Romania, small country, fucking good results. They did really well. Did really, really, really well. And especially to score the same as Ireland. And Ireland's, one of the OGs of the European side. Like, to score with them is pretty fucking cool. But like I said, Ireland wasting no time whatsoever, and it's just like, let's recruit, let's get practicing, because they ain't messing around. They're going to come in hot, and I can't wait to fucking see it. 10th, New Zealand. 11th was Iceland. United States was 12th. Spain, Brazil. Spain was 13. Brazil was last. Lots of those. Spain and Brazil, they did really good showcasing. They did the new school, old school kind of like crossover. Especially Spain did that. They did like like the generic cuts and everything displayed it really lovely because they were right next to New Zealand as well because it was New Zealand and then right at the end was Spain, and they did really well. Plenty of room for improvement though because you are going up against some fucking juggernauts. But like there is so much room for improvement, and same with Brazil. Like big shout out to them, they did amazing. But like Brazil and the United States, I would categorize as like showcasing and doing displays is a bit different, especially from their background. But there is so much room for them to really fucking do well. Like they can take all the notes that they did on 2025 in Paris and they can elevate it and they can do really, really, really well. And there is so much room and so many different displays and so many different things that they could change. But it is trying to bring in an influence of such who does these artisan fluent things because it's a different ball game over there with those two countries, especially because when they do their cuts, it's completely different and it's showcased different. Where I know a few shops do, you know, in the States and Brazil, they do the artisan kind of bits and pieces, but you know, Brazil barbecue non-stop. They just take the cuts, they pile them up, and they just sell it ready to go. And same with the United States as well. They do have a wide range of different products that they do seasonally and everything as well. But they will bring the heat, and I think they've got a lot of room to improve. And I look forward to seeing what they did. Like even at like Paris, they did really fucking well. And uh, Bingham from United States, when I finally got over and he was eating a sandwich as well, I was like, "What's his product?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this." And I was like, "What's that product?" I was just grilling him as he's trying to eat a sandwich. But the thing was, I was only quickly asking him questions because the amount of people that were flowing through, and I was stopping. I was stopping like a lot of people, but like I wasn't really worried about them because I wanted to know and I wanted to like express how much and how well they did, you know, and I did with like everyone as well for Australia, New Zealand, you know, Team GB, and I told all the people I spoke to, I was like, I'm really fucking proud of you, and I love you, and you did really well, and you know, stay cool, you know, it was really good. The same with Iceland as well. Iceland, like those boys know, I love them, and I'll forever have their back, and I'll represent them in 28 as well when we all go over. So that is that. So that's the WBC like placings. If you didn't know, now you know. Um, but yeah, like that was one of the topics. Um, Next one was just like I know, like I said, Big Brad. Big shout out to him for coming onto the podcast. Great chat. I love him. He's becoming a really good friend. He's in the mix of like the moose season and everything now, and he sent me some photos, which I'll try and clip up here. So this is like one of the days to try and learn to edit and do these things. So just bear with me on that. But yeah, it's moose season. It seems to be quite crazy because you know these beasts are so fucking big, but then the photos that he sent through, like they're on the back of trailers, like head to toe, just like slumped over. It's like I asked him to see if he can give us some videos of him skinning and whatever else, but he says no. It's like it's a quick in and out kind of job, and they just want these products done. But I'll try and bring up some of those photos and the editing and see if we can bring them up like here or something. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Um, but yeah, he also says like Thanksgiving is quite big as well. Like obviously being in the States and everything else as well. So I just thought I'll just, do you know what? Because I spoke to Eleanor last weekend on the pod, like before we started recording the podcast, and she was talking about like Chat GPT and everything as well. So I've downloaded it, and it seems to have consumed a bit of my time. I don't know why. I seem to ask it a lot of questions, and I seem to get like a lot of responses and like stupid things that I'd like ask, and I don't know. I seem to have spent too much time dicking around with this thing. But then I was like, oh, if I'm doing a solo episode, why not bring up some fun and interesting facts about Thanksgiving? I don't know. I just thought it would be fun, but it's something a bit different. Like, because I don't know too much about like Thanksgiving in a sense. It's never really been on our radar, especially for like an educational purpose. Because you see it all the time in the movies, don't you? Where you're just like, mm, like Thanksgiving, it's pecan pies and turkey, and then like a couple of months later, it's more turkey, and you're like, that's a lot of turkey, to be honest. But then in America, they do fucking eat. They eat a lot, and it's not small portions like we are used to on this side of the pond, and same with like Australia and New Zealand. That like every day seems like a food challenge. That's the best way I can describe it in a sense, because they do consume a lot over there. But big shout out to them. So, like, a fun and interesting fact that I found, which I never knew about, was the first Thanksgiving was in 1621. The feast began with the Pilgrims and the Wapanga people. Lasted 3 whole days, not just one. Should it be like a 3-day bender? Like, should that be converted back to like 3 days? I don't know. It's just 3 days of eating. I'm assuming they probably had so much food because being in the 1600s, there was no real electricity, no real cooling devices or anything as such. And you're not exactly going to go down to the river, are you? And be like, boy, get that fucking turkey out, and be like, that's cold. No, and like I think they probably had so much food that it lasted 3 days, and they just partied, slept, and did whatever, and just kept eating and partying, I guess. So the second fact as well, there was no turkey originally. Historians believe that the first Thanksgiving meal likely featured venison, shellfish, and corn, but no turkey. If that went for 3 days, and like I said, there was no refrigeration or anything of that such. Shellfish? How many people do you reckon fucking got sick? Let that sink in. And corn. That's a lot of corn for 3 days. You're just shitting corn. You would have turned yellow yourself. That's all. Number 3. Turkey name mixed up. The bird is called turkey because early Europeans confused it with guinea fowl, imported via Turkey, the country. I can see that. I can see how you can mess that up. But also, they're completely different birds. But unless back in the 1600s they were similar. But I can't see it now. But unless one's bred, like the turkey, to what it is now, and the size portion, like the size that it is, I don't know. Completely different birds. I don't know. I can see how you can get that mixed up, but yeah. Guinea fowl. Look it up. Presidential turkey pardon. Every year, the U.S. president pardons a turkey, sparing it from being eaten. The tradition began with George H.W. Bush in 1989. What? So, like, is there like a field of turkeys and he's just like, that one? Or does he pardon the whole pasture and go, you can come on? Or I don't know. I'll have to look into that one. Maybe not. It's just like a fleeting section that I'm bringing up. Biggest travel day, like we said, in the movies and everything as well. The movies, everyone seems to on Thanksgiving and Christmas all go to like JFK airport or like Miami airport and all this and that. I do get that. It's the biggest travel day. It's family orientated holidays, which are good because family matters. Big shout out to everyone who's got a good family. Even if you got a shit family, at least you've got someone. If not, you've got the butchery community. Pumpkin pie legacy. The pumpkin pie began a Thanksgiving staple thanks to Abraham Lincoln, who declared Thanksgiving a national holiday in 1863, and the New Englander popularized the dish. Me personally, I've never had pumpkin pie. I'm assuming it's creamy. Do you reckon it has cinnamon on it? I don't know. We'll have to look at like a recipe. Might even have to do it for like Traeger Day or whatever, because that comes up soon. And those are always good fun. If you're following like the Traeger Instagram and that, and they do the competition for game day, which is in November. And they do like a big cook-off, and everyone from around the world does these massive cook-offs, displays, everything as well. They do really good displays. So big shout out to Traeger for putting that event on. And you win, and being a part of it, you win like a Traeger ring, like competition, whatever the year is, and it's on there. It's actually quite good. Gastronaut Barbecue, he endorsed it here. He won one, and he says the ring is fucking heavy. And I'm like, no, it's meant to be like a game day ring, I'm sure, when they do the playoffs and whatever. Don't know. Never watched much NFL. Probably should. It just looks like a long day. That's all. I'll stick to my rugby and rugby league and that. Thank you. Number 7. Macy's parade started. So the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade in 1924 featured animals from the Central Zoo Park instead of giant balloons. Is Macy's like the clothing store? I don't know. Or is it? I don't know. Like, I don't know what Macy's is. It might be a store, a fashion store. It sounds familiar. Because when I was reading it, I was like, that sounds familiar. I'm not sure. I couldn't be bothered like searching what Macy's is, because I'll probably just go into the details of how that place started. But like 1924, to build big balloons back in that day, that would have taken fucking a lot of manpower and a lot of hours and a lot of stupid amounts of helium. But even then, you've also got, did they have the technology like they did then for the parades 20 years ago? Because they were, helium. There's a lot of fucking helium straight off the bat, and and for putting the Central Park Zoo animals in there would be a good shout. Just some caged and whatever else. I think it's a good idea, as long as no one got hurt. Turkey population, around 46 million turkeys are eaten every Thanksgiving in the US. That is a fucking amount of birds. That is stupid. That is stupid. That's like the equivalent of like a city of people. Like in Australia, there's probably like nearly the population of Australia. Like, fucking hell. That's a lot of turkeys. I wonder what the UK is. It wouldn't be that much, would it? What, a couple million, I reckon? We should probably do a segment of that and see how much is consumed in in the UK compared to, the US. Right, so this is very interesting. Number 9 is frozen turkey bowling. Some Americans celebrate with a goofy tradition, bowling with a frozen turkey down a greased up grocery aisle. I love it. That's brilliant. Are you doing that at Walmart? Is that where it traditionally started? It wasn't at Macy's. Could be at a Macy's. But yeah, it was. I think that's really cool. Have you got like the 10 pins? Like, have you got? Is that it, or have you got like beer cans? And it's just like how many you knock over, you got to drink as well. Fuck, is that a drinking game? Might be now, but yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It's quite goofy, quite funny. A little bit disrespectful though to the old carcass. But 46 million turkeys are eaten. What's 1 or 10 in comparison to that? But as long as it's getting eaten, that's what it all counts for. Last one, TV and football traditions. The NFL started hosting games on Thanksgiving in 1920, making football as iconic as turkey on the holiday. We covered that in a sense, you kind of put the 2 and 2 together. Traeger Day does it. But yeah, 1920, it's like, that's good. That's nearly 100. That's over 100 years ago now. That's crazy. That's a lot of football. But yeah, no, that's good. I think that's all the facts for today. I only gave you 10. ChatGPT said if they wanted to give me more, and I was like, no, we'll stick with 10. But I'll hit you up later for something else. So thank you, ChatGPT. Or it could have just been a simple Google. Now I've got like an AI on my phone, which I've also got the newest Apple phone. So it's already got Apple AI. I don't know what the difference is. Couldn't tell you. All I know is how to record, take photos, and Instagram, and take calls. Texts? Yeah, sure. But yeah, that's all I wanted to really cover with today's episode. A nice, easy solo one. just something a little bit fun, lighthearted, easy watching, and whatever else. But thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in. And if you haven't seen before, subscribe. It gives us more coverage as well, and it gets across to other people. And there might be some more bigger meat influencers and chefs and whatever who might see it and want to reach out, and we can have them on as well. That's what subscribing and liking and sharing and all that does. It's really good. It's free as well. But there is a handful of big episodes coming up, like I said, and I've got some amazing guests on in the future. But if there's anyone that you particularly want to see or re-see or, whatever else, like you can DM me or tag them in the clips and whatnot. But don't be afraid. If there's anyone you want to see or whatnot, if you're not sure, just reach out. But it's, very easy. A lot of people do know me. If you don't know me, fucking reach out. I'm quite an easy person anyway. But yeah, thank you guys for enjoying this episode. Give it a like, subscribe, tag everyone, get amongst it. Enjoy yourself. All right. I hope everyone has a lovely weekend, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.